Close your eyes. Take a deep breath. And recall a time when you put your heart and soul into something for your business. And then it did not go the way you hoped it would. How did you feel? Deflated? Disappointed? Did you tell yourself that it was a big failure? Did you want to take your idea, crumple it up, and throw it in the garbage? I know exactly how that feels. Today, I want to talk about failure. Or more specifically, I want to talk about what happens when something we really care about doesn't go well, and how quickly we can spiral into these failure narratives, these stories that we tell ourselves about how we have unrealistic dreams, about how we're not capable of the kind of success and impact we want for ourselves, all because one thing we tried didn't meet our expectations. My brain is really good at telling me I'm a failure, so I happen to be intimately familiar with this experience. And to be honest, even though I've done years and years of personal work, this fearful, critical part of me still shows up when my business isn't going great. But all of that work has revealed something deeper and truer that I'm working on internalizing. And it's that the whole idea of failure is a fallacy. Failure implies a pass-fail grade, a good or bad outcome. Failure is a signal that I'm defaulting to binary thinking, which has literally never served me. The truth is this: our businesses are ongoing creative projects, and at any given moment, we're just working through another draft of our big vision for our businesses. Some drafts are better than others, and hopefully each draft gets better than the last. When I give myself permission to switch my perspective away from success versus failure and towards an iterative, creative process, everything changes. Let me share a real-life example of a recent failure that got me all twisted up. First, I need to zoom out and give you some context. So let's travel back in time, way back to 2014. This was the year I attended my first ever retreat. It was a mindful self-compassion retreat with Kristen Neff, and it changed my life. Mindful self-compassion is amazing, but it was actually the retreat setting that blew my mind. I'd never been in such an intimate space with other people. It sparked something in me, a curiosity about retreats and groups and gatherings that would stay with me for many years. Then, fast forward to 2017, when I attended my first business retreat. I loved it. All throughout the retreat, I found myself wondering, how can I do this? The vision wasn't formed, but I could feel in my gut that there was something here for me. So the following year, I decided to co-host a peer retreat. I didn't get paid, which was great because it lowered the stress, and it gave me a chance to experience what it was like to plan and facilitate a retreat. Again, it checked all the boxes for me. I wanted to keep going. So between 2018 and 2023, I did a lot of experimentation. I started charging for my gatherings, first of all. I hosted virtual gatherings during the pandemic. I hosted week-long in-person retreats, many 2-day retreats. I was really trying everything to see what felt good and right for me. I was also, during that time, attending tons of different personal retreats for myself, which was great for me personally, and it also was great for me professionally because it gave me so many ideas about what I did and what I didn't want to incorporate into my own gatherings. So for those 5 years, I was really unearthing my vision and giving myself permission to own that being a retreat facilitator was what I really, really wanted to do. Then, last summer, the summer of 2024, I felt like it was time. It was time to launch my vision. It was time to create and offer the type of wellness retreat for business owners that had been brewing inside of me for the past 10 years. This retreat was going to be all about wellness and personal work for business owners without any of the productivity sessions, strategy coaching, and hot seats that I found terribly distracting. I'd never seen anyone offer something like this, but I knew in my heart that it was needed, and I felt like I was ready to do it. So I did it. I did the whole thing. I booked the retreat venue. I created this fancy, beautiful, long-form sales page for the retreat. I had my pre-launch and my launch plan all ready to go. And then I did it. I launched the retreat. And after the first 2 people registered, which was amazing, there were crickets. Crickets. Ooh, I was devastated. The speed with which I vacillated from so confident and excited to completely deflated and hopeless was truly remarkable. I felt like I'd invested years, my whole heart and soul into this vision, and nobody really wanted it. I was deep in a failure spiral. I wanted to cancel the whole thing. I wanted to crawl into a hole and disappear. I literally walked around my house singing, "Nobody likes me, everybody hates me." It was bad, y'all. Really bad. A dark night of the soul, to be sure. But luckily, I had a ragtag team of some really wonderful people in my life who were able to talk me down off of the ledge of failure. And once I climbed off that ledge and regrounded myself, centered myself back into my spiritual practice, I was able to access a reframe. What if, instead of viewing this retreat as the grand reveal of my big vision, I thought of it instead as the next draft of this masterpiece that I want to create? What if this retreat was just research and development for all of the retreats yet to come? Everything shifted instantly. When I released the fear that I was a giant failure, I was able to tap into more creative thinking and more trust in the process. And unsurprisingly, like magic, everything worked itself out. We did have to lower the price, and we didn't make any money from this retreat, so we didn't get paid for it. But we covered our costs. We had an amazing time, and we gathered so much data about how to improve for the next draft of my retreat vision. That perspective shifted everything. This experience taught me that we need to stop putting pressure on our offerings to be final products. The reality is, every project we work on is just another draft of the vision we're trying to bring to life, and the creative process is inherently iterative. When we loosen our grip on what we're creating, we can start to approach our projects with more curiosity. And that curiosity allows us to gather data about what's working, what's not working so well, what we love, what we wish we could have done differently. This curiosity creates excitement, and it opens up possibility for how our ideas can be even better next time. If I would have held on to the failure narrative, I would not have had the energy to offer the retreat again. I would have given up. But because I chose to view it as a draft, as an iteration, as a research and development opportunity, I felt excited and motivated to reiterate the retreat and launch it again this year. And guess what? The result this time around was drastically different from last year, even though we actually did less in preparation for selling the retreat. Last year, remember, I did the big fancy long-form sales page and the launch plan and all the things. This year, we stripped it down to a bare bones Google Doc. That's the sales page. It's literally a Google Doc. I decided to share that sales page with my clients, my past clients, retreat alumni from past gatherings, all before opening registration to the public. And within just a few weeks, we had sold out all 12 spots. My mind was blown. My mind's still blown, to be honest. I'm so thrilled. We had increased the price point, so this year, me and my team are actually getting paid well to facilitate this retreat, which is amazing. And the level of excitement from the participants who said yes to this gathering just thrills me to the core. Last year, selling this retreat was a challenge. This year, there was so much ease. And it's all because I implemented what we learned from last year's draft. From the, quote, failure that I experienced last year, when I loosened my grip on that, when I changed my perspective and instead opened myself to learning, receiving notes, making edits, bam, here we are today having a totally different experience. And I can see that we are arriving at the next draft of what this retreat vision really wants to be. So this year, I'm going to approach the fall retreat with that same spirit of curiosity and iteration. I am going to bring into the gathering so much excitement to see what works, what doesn't work, what could be better next time. And we're already preparing another iteration of this retreat for the spring, which is really exciting to me. I'm embracing my vision of hosting retreats full-time, and I'm also embracing that vision will never be complete. There will never be a grand reveal, because we will always be evolving. No matter what happens, we haven't failed. We've simply gathered more data about what this vision needs to thrive. Now, I want to turn this conversation back to you. I want to know, what big vision are you holding right now? What dreams do you want to go pull out of the trash bin? Maybe things you were really excited about, but you feel like you failed, so you buried it deep down inside. Now is the time to go back into the archives and to pull to the foreground all of the visions and the dreams your heart and soul are asking you to bring forward. Then, I want you to ask yourself, what draft are you on? Maybe you're on the very first draft, and you're bringing this idea forward for the very first time. Or maybe it's your 5th draft or your 500th draft. Maybe you've been doing this for years, and you're working on the next iteration of your idea. Now that you know what version of the draft you're working on, you can start to notice where you're still feeling critical of yourself, where you're still holding past failure narratives, or maybe falling for the belief that your idea is never going to be successful. Track all of that mental garbage, write it down, and then, when you're ready, I want you to crumple that up and throw it in the trash. This is how we practice changing our perspective on the failure stories that stop us from iterating our ideas, in my humble opinion. Finally, I want you to give yourself permission to feel really excited about the potential of your new idea. That excitement is going to energize and inspire you to create the next draft of your vision. And that's all we can do, really. It's just create one draft at a time. I'd love to share my current draft with you as an example. So if you'd like to see that very simple Google Doc sales page that we use to sell out the fall retreat, and if you would like to join the wait list for our spring equinox retreat in March 2026, check it out at deeplyrested.com/retreat. That's deeplyrested.com/retreat. I would love to share that with you. And know, when you look at it, that it isn't perfect. It definitely isn't final, but it did prove itself to be a good enough next draft. And honestly, that is the best success I can hope for. Here's to your next draft. I can't wait to see what you create. Talk to you later. Thank you so much for listening to today's episode of Deeply Rested. If you enjoyed this conversation, I would love to invite you to join the Deeply Rested weekly newsletter. You can sign up at deeplyrested.com/newsletter. I hope to meet you in my inbox very soon.